You know, there's something almost poetic about having an opera about making fools of people appear on April Fool's Day. You know, I don't know if it was necessarily planned or, you know what, I'm sure it probably was, and if it was, good planning. Okay, let's break this down. Not as many notes this time around as with Lohengrin. I mean, last time it was, again, a long opera, but there are a lot of things to talk about there. This one, I think it went pretty smoothly. I think the only major thing throughout the entire thing that I might have had an issue with were sound levels. Like, I'm sure this is going to be something that gets fixed in post, but can we at least do something while it's live? Let's see, the paper at the beginning looks like there was something about the innocence of Lady Chatterley, which I believe was a book that actually was banned in the UK until around 1960. So if you're wondering what time we're in this production, it looks like around 1960, 61. I know in the previous time they did this, in 2013, they'd had Ambrosio, who is a very large fellow. And I don't think they actually had any padding on him. They just threw the Falstaff outfits on him, and I think it just kind of worked on him. Michael Vole is not as big as Ambrosio, so they obviously had to pad some things into there that they didn't have to before. Kind of made him look like, this is going to be an odd reference, it kind of made him look like Sean Hunter from one of the early episodes of Boy Meets World when their class was putting on a performance of Hamlet, and Sean just happened to be the king. And they gave him this big round belly to put underneath his costume that would get stabbed at the end of the play. Just a fun little side note, that's all. I liked how the ladies all looked after Ninetta, as you know, her father was trying to set her up with Dr. Caius. Obviously, it wasn't a marriage that she wanted. She wanted to be with Fenton, and eventually she does at the end, thanks again to help from the Merry Wives of Windsor, Meg, Alice, and Miss Quickly. Actually, there's probably only 2 Wives of Windsor, and then there's Miss Quickly, and then Ninetta, who I guess becomes a wife of Windsor. You know, just little subtle things that you see throughout the opera, like in the first act when Ninetta and Fenton are meeting in between the 2 tables, and you can see Meg just kind of look. It's like, oh, I see what's going on there. Okay. And, you know, Mr. Ford, he obviously wasn't too keen on it and tried to keep Fenton away from Ninetta the entire time. But Alice was just like, hey, no making out. You can hang out, but no making out. And then, of course, Miss Quickly heard the plan for the end of it at the beginning of Act 3, where Ford and Caius are discussing what they're going to do after they pull off the prank on Falstaff. And, of course, Miss Quickly hears it and is like, this isn't happening. And then passes it along, and then Alice tells Ninetta, it's like, go hide, Dr. Caius is looking for you. Also want to give a quick shout out to Jennifer Johnson Cano and Carlo Bossi, who played Meg Page and Dr. Caius 10 years ago in the last live in HD production of Falstaff. Let's see, a lot of fun little bits of physical comedy going on. Like when Miss Quickly goes to meet Falstaff and sort of flings her coat around and pulls Falstaff into her bosom, and Falstaff just sort of bumbling over himself. I suppose if there's one thing from that scene right there that I would have liked to see return from the 2013 presentation, is the part where Alice just sort of gets rolled on the laundry, which Eileen Perez was. But there was also just this sort of flair that Angela Mead had, where she was just floating along and just this hand up in the air, a flower in her mouth. Just like, la la la, nothing's happening. And I don't know if it was the angle, but I didn't necessarily see that from Eileen. She had a good performance regardless. Yeah, I'd say pretty much most everyone here had a solid performance. Christopher Maltman usually is a bit hit and miss for me, but I think he did solid here. Michael Vole was good as Falstaff. One thing I kind of like better in Ambrosio's take on it is near the end when they're doing the final prank on him, and they're got the knives out, and they go, and the merry wives are going, I don't know the lyrics, and then Falstaff gives out these cries for help, and unfortunately I don't have any recordings of Michael Vole doing it, but I think Paul Plishka did the same thing 30 years ago. It just goes, ay, yay, yay, yay. And it's very, not necessarily staccato, but almost staccato-ish, especially compared to Ambrosio. He goes, ay, yay, yay, yay. It's like this, this sad call for help. I would have loved to have seen it again, but I understand different artists have different takes on it, so it makes sense why Michael Vole wouldn't necessarily do the same thing as Ambrosio. What else? I mean, I think that's it. It's a very fun opera. It's one of my favorites. It was a very solid performance. Okay, there's one thing in this production that bugs me, and it's the final prank on Falstaff where they're doing the one story in the forest, and I don't know, this doesn't feel like it should necessarily be off the cuff here. I mean, like a small choices were made. I mean, but choices were made isn't necessarily about doing like small bits in opera. I mean, like if we're doing like small bits, we'd be here the entire time just nitpicking everything for it. I mean, it's more about the whole presentation in general. Then again, I guess we could do a mini one. I mean, this isn't the first time we've done this production. You know what? Screwing it. We're doing it. Impromptu choices were made. Give me a minute. Okay. Where were we? So the setup here is to have the ladies each play a specific role. Meg is a wood nymph, Quickly is a witch, and Ninette is the queen of the fairies. Plus you have Alice as the bait for Falstaff. Cool, so at least all four should be recognizable, dressed differently. Not quite. Only Ninetta is dressed differently in her white, what would eventually be her wedding dress. Everyone else is in black robes and black hats. Why? What's the point? I realize Falstaff isn't supposed to recognize the people torturing him, but we're not him. This opera is not set up as some biographical tale of the character. It's an ensemble with multiple points of view. And this is important for all future directors. You can't set up your audience like this for this type of subversion of expectations. This isn't a plot twist. This is a costuming choice. The librettist and the composer gave you specific instructions, specific details of what you had to follow.
And you blew it! You blew it!
I suppose the easiest way to change this is to color coordinate, have Meg in a green robe, Quickly in a red robe, and I guess Alice in blue. You could then have everyone else wearing scarves in corresponding colors, green for the wood nymphs, red for the witches, and blue for the fairies? I don't know, but it's more thought to this one issue than I feel Robert Carsen actually gave. And before anyone says the problem is they put it in the modern era instead of in its intended era, no. The problem is the director didn't pay attention to detail. A lot of these stories can be placed in a plethora of eras, assuming certain contextual markers exist. For instance, Rigoletto in the Weimar Republic works for the corrupt nature of the era. Tristan and Isolde can work most any time as England and Ireland are almost never bickering at each other. And Falstaff can work in a variety of eras, including, as we see here, the age of classic TV sitcoms. Those were the days. Something like this can work very well, and for the most part it does, but you gotta pay attention to the little key details. I mean, it's kind of one of the reasons why I have issues with Lucia di Lammermoor that I did last year. We'll get to that in a later video, I promise. And yeah, that's it. I have no more notes. It was a very good performance. I liked everyone that was, almost everyone that was in there. Actually, yeah, I think I did like everyone that was in there. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any thoughts on the performance, leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button so that the algorithm can spread this video to other people just like you. And if this is your first time, please hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell for any new videos when they are published. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.